Welcome to this explainer on Carol Dweck's really groundbreaking research, Mindset. Today, we're going to unpack how your deepest beliefs about your own abilities actually shape your entire reality. And look, this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good self-help stuff. We're looking at 20 years of hardcore psychological research that reveals how a simple shift in belief can dictate absolutely everything, from your career trajectory to your relationships. Let's get into it.
So we're starting with a massive foundational question from the text. Why do some people completely crumble after a failure, while others use that exact same failure to thrive? You know what I mean, right? Why are some people so obsessed with constantly proving themselves, while others can just kind of laugh at their mistakes, brush off the dust, and actually learn from them?
Well, the answer lies in a core distinction between two very different views of ability. On one side, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the belief that your qualities are essentially carved in stone. Like you're born with a certain amount of intelligence or a specific talent, and, well, that's it. You get what you get. On the flip side, we have the growth mindset. This is the foundational trust that your qualities can be nurtured, grown, and developed over time through actual effort, experience, and practice.
Now, holding one or the other fundamentally alters your life's goals. Think about it. If you have a fixed mindset, your definition of success is being perfect, mistake-free, and looking inherently smart right out of the gate. Your whole focus is just seeking validation. But if you're operating with a growth mindset, you believe you're successful as long as you're improving. You're completely freed up from that heavy, exhausting pressure of perfection, and you can just focus purely on the process of learning.
But here is a critical nuance that most people totally miss, and Dweck actually calls this the false growth mindset. I really want to be crystal clear about this. Having a growth mindset is not some generic corporate cliche about simply thinking positive or having blind optimism. It isn't just looking in the mirror and telling yourself that everything's going to be okay.
Rather, it is a highly concrete psychological framework. It's about confronting difficult challenges head-on, actually embracing the struggle and making measurable progress over time. As Dweck points out, it's not about achieving immediate perfection. It is about having the passion to stretch yourself and stick to it, especially when things are going horribly wrong. And honestly, let's be real. Nobody has a pure 100% growth mindset all the time. Mindset isn't just a simple binary switch. We all sit somewhere on a spectrum. You might have a completely growth-oriented mindset at work, enthusiastically tackling new projects, but then hold a surprisingly fixed mindset when it comes to your social skills, your romantic relationships, or even your personality. We all have our triggers.
When we look at the anatomy of these two mindsets side by side, it's wild how these differing beliefs dictate everything. Just notice how they handle extra effort. A fixed mindset is super reluctant, seeing effort as a literal sign of deficiency. Like, if I have to try hard, I must not be good at this. Meanwhile, a growth mindset accepts effort as the actual key to success. You also see the fixed mindset feeling directly, personally threatened by the success of others, whereas the growth mindset looks at successful people and says, hey, what can I learn from them?
Which brings us to a fascinating, kind of counterintuitive paradox in the research. This is huge for how we raise children, mentor employees, or teach students. We naturally think we're helping when we tell people how gifted or naturally smart they are, right? But does telling someone they are naturally smart actually build their confidence?
Surprisingly, Dweck's research proves that praising intelligence or innate talent completely backfires. When kids are handed positive labels like talented or smart, it instantly cultivates a fixed mindset. It creates this massive stress to live up to those expectations, and as a result, they actually start avoiding challenges because they're terrified of losing their smart label and revealing their hidden flaws.
And get this, the data on this is absolutely staggering. In Dweck's studies, after facing a setback, an astonishing 40% of students who were praised for their innate ability were so deeply ashamed of their low scores that they literally lied about them. Telling them they were smart ultimately made them feel dumber and forced them to act dumber just to protect their ego. No way, right?
So, the crucial, absolute, game-changing point is this: praise the process, not the talent. You want to affirm the strategies, the effort, the choices, and the tenacity. By praising the approach, saying things like, wow, I really admire how you stayed focused and tried creative ways to get this done, you create a solid, resilient foundation. That's what actually motivates people to keep learning even when they fail.
Mindsets in the real world, parenting and education. Let's take a look at how this plays out where the stakes are incredibly high, because how teachers and parents react to failure literally shapes the next generation's mindset.
The text highlights a major misconception in education. Great, growth-minded teachers do not lower their standards just to let students score an easy A and feel warm and fuzzy about themselves. Instead, they do something much, much harder. They set rigorous, high standards, tell students the honest truth about their current performance, and then, here's the key, they teach them the exact strategies and tools needed to close that gap. They aren't judging, they are teaching.
Mindsets in the real world, sports. This dynamic is just as powerful on the field or the court, a domain where our culture notoriously adores the idea of natural talent over hard work.
We love the myth of the effortless genius, but behind the scenes, the reality is drastically different. Consider the stark contrast highlighted in the book between different types of athletes. You have a highly successful but incredibly fixed-minded athlete like tennis star John McEnroe. When he lost, what did he do? He made excuses, he blamed everyone else, and he was so humiliated by a loss that he literally avoided playing mixed doubles for 20 years. Now, contrast that defensive, ego-driven posture with a growth-minded legend like Michael Jordan.
Jordan was famously rejected by his high school varsity team and the first 2 NBA teams he applied for. But listen to how he talks about his career. He says, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed." He perfectly illustrates how true champions view failure. It's not an identity, it is simply an essential stepping stone to eventual mastery.
The source material makes it abundantly clear. Natural physical attributes only get you so far. Character, that ability to dig deep, find your inner strength, and just keep going in the face of massive, soul-crushing setbacks, is the ultimate separator. And that character? It is built entirely on a growth mindset. That is the true mind of a champion.
Shifting your mindset. Actionable takeaways. All right, so knowing all this about education, sports, and our own personal messy spectrum of beliefs, how do we actually rewire our brains? How do we make that conscious choice to shift towards growth every single day? Well, the text offers a highly practical framework. Step 1, be aware of it. Catch yourself. Identify those triggers. Maybe it's critical feedback or seeing a younger colleague get promoted that make you feel instantly defensive. Step 2, commit to taking action even when you feel terrible and discouraged by a setback. Make a vivid, concrete plan of how you will overcome it, and actually visualize your brain forging new neural connections. And most importantly, step 3, reframe your limitations with one tiny, simple word. When you hit a brick wall, simply adding the word "yet" to the end of "I can't do that" completely reframes a permanent limitation into an active learning timeline. I can't do this yet. It is such a small shift, but it is incredibly powerful. As we wrap up this explainer on Carol Dweck's mindset, remember this. Your true potential isn't about what you were born with. It's not some fixed hand of cards you were dealt at birth that you're just stuck with. Rather, your potential is defined by what you are willing to develop through relentless effort, intense curiosity, and resilience. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought from the book to ponder as you go about your day. If your entire identity and your self-worth are tied up in being successful, what exactly are you when you inevitably fail? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously challenge you to start looking for the yet in your own life. Catch you next time.